Hi, I'm Ed Orcutt.
Vincent Baez.
Kevin Parker.
Maureen Walsh.
Joe Schmick.
Paul Harris.
Matt Shea.
Susan Fagan.
JT Wilcox.
I'm a small business owner.
I own some coffee shops. I own my own law firm.
My family business is Wilcox Family Farms.
Consulting forester.
I'm in the construction industry.
I do medical and dental collections.
I've signed both sides of a paycheck.
I've often felt the best thing we can do for families is make sure the parents have jobs to be able to support their families.
As a small business owner, some of the things that I've encountered that have made it more and more difficult to operate business here in Whatcom County has obviously been some of the taxes. We continue to pay more and more in taxes. The regulatory burden is continuing to increase, but also just the employment taxes, the cost to have an employee or the cost to operate a business.
When you start paying $12,000 a month, you really ask yourself, what is the state of Washington doing for me and for my business to get $12,000 a month?
One of the biggest barriers right now to private sector job creation very clearly is the onslaught of regulations. In the first half of 2010, there were over 1,600 new regulations passed by our state agencies.
Too often in the past, we've almost dealt like we're in a closed room or a vacuum and don't really realize what impact policy can have.
We do lose jobs because workers' comp and unemployment is under the umbrella of the state of Washington. My biggest legislative goal to create jobs in the state of Washington is to get government out of the way, reining in our agencies and our entire regulatory scheme, which has become so unpredictable, it's costing jobs in the state of Washington. Business owners don't know from one day to the next what an inspector or agent from an agency is going to come in and say to them.
And give our employers a chance to adjust to the rules they already have and let them focus on expanding their business and improving our economy. That should be our primary focus.
Having diversity is extremely important in this economy.
I think when you have a diverse economy, it helps people try to find jobs that they're interested in working in. So I think the diversification of any economy is always healthy. I look at our wine industry now as a tremendously successful diversification of our ag industry, where wheat used to be the prevailing crop, and frankly still is. We now have another way of using less water on a crop and being able to produce a product that is world-renowned, and that has been a tremendous shot in the arm for our agricultural economy and where that diversity has really been a benefit.
Agriculture is our strong base, and manufacturing now has become a very, very important part of our economy.
Washington State is more than just Microsoft, it's more than just apples. It's also our wheat growers, our hop growers, it's also our vineyard growers, it's also our manufacturers, it's everybody. They all have to be part of this economy.
Washington State is blessed with numerous high-paying jobs, high-wage jobs, whether it be at Microsoft, whether it be Boeing, whether it be any of our refineries.
We want to make sure that the laws we pass, the regulations that come out of those laws, aren't pushing our job creators out of the state of Washington.
I talk to business owners on a daily basis, and they tell me all kinds of stories about how government regulators are intruding on their small business, reducing the number of jobs that they can produce, and why they're sending them over to Idaho instead of them staying in Spokane Valley, Washington.
We continually see businesses in this neck of the woods go to Idaho. Well, what do they have that we don't have? We've got to take a serious look at that. I want to make Washington the place to locate that business. I want to keep people here. I want to keep jobs here. So we have a vibrant rural economy.
We have people here who started their businesses after going to WSU, stayed right here in Pullman, and decided, hey, we're going to grow the economy right here.
We are one of the most
trade-dependent
states in the country.
The key transportation issue for the 4th District is the North-South Freeway, which is getting finished in this section. It's crucial because the transportation of goods north and south throughout Spokane County has really been hindered up until now. You have to drive through, I think, 14 stoplights on North Division just to get from the north side of Spokane downtown.
We need to consider that in all policies that we pass, is what will this do to trade? If we pass higher taxes, does that make us less competitive? If we don't have the infrastructure we need, does that make us less competitive? We need to strengthen our competitive edge to make sure that we have that grain coming through our ports, putting our dock workers to work and keeping them employed.
We now have more than 30 employees that work for us in Spokane.
We've been in business here for 100 years and have employed as many as 700 people. And when you do that, you have a strong relationship with your staff. In fact, I'm the 4th generation of my family to live here, and there's a few families that have had 4 generations of family members that work with us. And when that happens, they're just like part of our family.
Those workers want to go to work. They need to go to work, and they deserve to go to work. And it's our duty as legislators to make sure there's an employer climate in this state which will allow them to go back to work.
I think one of the most important things that we've got to do is we've got to get Washington working again.
Let's get Washington.
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 Washington working again.